So the retrospective miscue analysis is really fun. Was fun for us. I know that I knew the kid, or I know the kid, but I think that just go having the opportunity to sit down and listen to kids' miscues and not being so strict about and I'm not saying being a like unprofessional, but just giving a kid a chance to laugh if they want to laugh about something, if it's funny, like if it was a silly mistake and they're like, oh wow, I can't believe I did that. I give that space to the kids, especially mine, when they mess up like that. Going back listening to that miscue analysis just makes it even more engaging for the kids, and less like a torture session or problematic. So she listens to herself, and I think one of the things that I could have done better is given her a chance to find her own miscues, right? Because the time is limited, but um, if she could find her own miscues and understand how they affect meaning in the sentence, that'd be helpful. All right, so according to Weaver, 2002, skills work in isolation as much. I'm sorry, skills work in isolation is much less valuable than direct help in using reading strategies and skills as one reads, or reflecting on one's miscues together with the teacher while listening to and discussing the tape recording of what one has read. Very important. I will always do this. I think even with my own kids, I have, my middle kid. I will definitely use this strategy. So when she's reading to me, record her and then allow her to listen to herself, because most people don't like to listen to ourselves, right? It's like something. It's a weird kind of experience. Retrospective. Look back at it and go through it. I like that. I'll be using that more often. This has made me take some time to reevaluate how I look at reading, and how I've always, been in this box. With my kids reading, they read. We go through the motions. They don't hear themselves. They don't get to hear what I hear. It is so important that our kids get to hear what we hear so they understand, right? Because in isolation, it's okay. But what do they get out of having those experiences and conversations? In isolation, nothing at all, right? Nothing at all. Or at least not what they should. All right. And so I had her. So what she said was, so this sentence here is for you to read and determine what the meaning of this phrase is, or this title, and it's eats, leaves, and shoots. And there's a book called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves. And I got this from Giselle, this phrase, the remix of the textbook. Eats, leaves, and shoots. Well, what exactly does that mean? And does it mean the same thing that the original text means? And I would love for you to explain what this title means to you and change it up to make it mean something else. All right. So all you got to do is kind of move the commas, or you can remove the commas. You can switch them around wherever you put them. Doesn't really matter. And look at how many different ways, we get meaning out of the sentence based on these these read, I was going to say road cues, the reading signs, like the commas and punctuation. All right. Obviously, she knows she needs to slow down. That is really something that we focused on, right? Just taking your time, slow down. All right. So here's some strategies for reading. And Weaver recommends reading conferences, offering to help the student writing the sounds of the words. I had my toddler spelling words. And it was so funny because he was spelling them the way that they sounded. That makes sense. And I thought it was brilliant. And that's just me. I'm a parent, obviously. And then asking the kids, asking students, how is that going? Is there anything you need help with? Because not only do our kids need help with miscue analysis in the process, but we as teachers, we need a lot of help. And I'm open to strategies that help my students and that improve their success in reading and in school. Right? They help us because reading strategies help us better understand what we read. And I didn't even think that, our kids make corrections silently, right, as they read. Obviously, I do it, but it just doesn't occur to me. Like when I had a kid reading, I've always thought, listen to that kid read, and if I couldn't hear it, it wasn't considered reading to me, right? Because I have to be able to evaluate it. I wish I had known these things this year, a while ago, like last year. It would have made some things a lot better. But the graphic cues she's looking at, she's substituting words that are shaped similarly, and predicting based on what she had already written in the text what was coming next. Pretty awesome strategies. Right. So the shape of words, Giselle looks at the shape of words, and these guys, the shapes can cause frequent miscues for our kids. And I never would have thought. I would have thought, okay, you're not reading, you're not doing a good job. If you're saying treat for treaty, you got to do it again. Never again will I do that. Right. And so here are my references. So I guess one of the things that really I was inspired by is just the fact that our kids need to hear themselves, and correcting them without a context is problematic because it doesn't help them. It's like getting a test back and with no feedback. For example, for our kids, when you get to a certain level, okay, no, sometimes you don't necessarily need feedback, but for our kids, the ones who are developing and reading, they need feedback. So I appreciate this experience, all of the reading materials, all of the opportunities to get the experience to become a better teacher, and administering the miscue analysis, reading inventories.